In any organisation taking an active interest in process management or improvement, we're likely to find a central process or BPM support group. Perhaps it's called the Office of BPM or the Process Center of Excellence or the BPM Center of Expertise, or maybe it's part of operational excellence or quality departments. And it's their job to do all of the process management and improvement work for the whole organisation. They're the experts, so it's right that they should do it all, isn't it? When that is their mandate, this group is called the OPPI. Let's explore that a little more. In this video, I want to give you 3 guaranteed rules for building the OPPI. Or maybe that's not what you meant to build. Spoiler alert, the OPPI is the Office for the Prevention of Process Improvement. Still keen? Okay, here are the rules. Rule number 1. The process team does all of the process work. The clue's in the name, a process team. So they do all the process work. They run the process workshops, they do the analysis of the processes, of performance, everything to do with process analysis they'll do because they're the process team. Makes sense, yeah? Rule number 2. They'll take a while to get to your process because they've got a lot of work on. So form an orderly queue. We'll get to you. Maybe it's going to take 6 months, but hey, we'll be there. Rule number 3. Well, you've got something urgent and you're thinking you might be able to do it yourself? No. See rule number 1 and rule number 2. So what's happening here? Well, obviously, we're setting up a bottleneck, aren't we? If we set up our process support such that there's a small team, and it will always be small, it doesn't matter how big the organisation is, you end up with a smallish team because a big team is expensive. So it's always going to be small. And if you set up a small team so that they must be involved in everything, then you're just designing a bottleneck. It can't possibly work. If they're going to be successful, then they're going to introduce massive delays into process improvement work because we'll have to form an orderly queue. So that doesn't sound like a great idea. So how can we avoid that? How could we be building the Office of Business Process Management rather than the OPPI? Well, I think the first thing that we need to be clear about is that the role of a process support team, the fundamental role, is to raise the capability of the rest of the organisation. Not just their own capability, but raise the capability of the rest of the organisation. To build the capability so that lots of people can get involved in process improvement work. We can think about the process team as a kind of internal consulting company, probably without the invoices. But they're there to support and to get involved in projects when they need to, maybe to do some training, some coaching, to be a reference point, but not to be there all of the time and not to be involved in absolutely everything. It's a source of experience and expertise we'll use when we want to. There is a residual role for a central support team, of course, because they're going to be the people who are going to take care of ensuring high quality in process analysis and modelling, etc. So they're going to look after the tools, they're going to be the ultimate custodian of the process architecture and other artefacts. So they're going to have an important role there, as well as being well involved with lots of people in helping them. So they have a residual role, but if that residual role, if they become the process police and that's all they're seen to be doing, then that's not going to be viable. So to achieve all of that, we need to have a very clear statement of purpose for that central team. It needs to be clear to them and to the rest of the organisation. The services they offer need to be clearly defined, and the services they don't offer might need to be defined, and that might change over time. So we need to be very clear about what the central group does and doesn't do, and its main game needs to be raising the capability of the rest of the organisation. But that will change over time, so I think about it like this. When we're first starting to build out process-based management in an organisation, let's imagine we're running a process improvement workshop. And in those early days, it'll be someone from the Office of BPM, the Center of Excellence, whatever it's called. Someone from that group will be up the front facilitating the workshop, because this is all new and they're the ones that know how to do it. But then after a little while and a few more projects, other people now have the capability to, at least under supervision, run that workshop. So the person from the office is not up the front of the room anymore, they're down the back. Still in the room, but they're not running it. It's not centred on them. And then after another little while and a few more projects, the person from the office is not even in the room because we've built capability in other people. So now we're not dependent on people from the Office of BPM to run, in this case, a process improvement workshop. Now, the people from the office have still reserved the right to pop back into any meeting, any workshop, to do a bit of checking on quality and all of those sorts of important things. But you don't need them to be there. You don't need permission to even have the process improvement workshop. We're not centred everything around the process improvement. We haven't centred all of the process improvement work around the presence of someone from the office. So I think we're all agreed that we don't want an OPPI, an Office of Prevention of Process Improvement. We do want a central support team, and we want it to be there to effectively provide support across the whole organisation, to raise capability across the organisation, not to be a bottleneck, but to be an enabler. As I've often been heard to say, we don't want 5 process analysts in our organisation, we want 5,000. Thanks for joining me for this Process Insight. In other videos in this series, we discuss many aspects of how process-based management improves and sustains organisational performance. I hope you're finding them useful. My intention is to provide insights into how to get the most out of your process management and improvement initiatives. Is there a topic you'd like to hear more about? Maybe there's something I've said that you'd like to comment on, or you'd like me to go into more detail about. Let me have your feedback below. And thanks for sharing this time with me. If you'd like to continue the discussion, I'd love to hear from you.